see the actual height to get it right.
Hey, Paul! Paul!
Video assist.
I got one.
Roll camera.
Marking.
Action!
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love.
The minute that we started Runaway, there was an extra energy that occurred, and it was just so obvious that it was not only going to be a hit again, but that it was going to be an extra special hit. That the song just had hit written all over it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do that on 5.
It's tough to make the audience really believe that in fact those dinosaurs really are there, that they're singing and they're dancing and they're playing their instruments. We came up with the idea of what we're going to call the Dino Stars. It's using these main characters that are being portrayed in the Runaway video as dinosaur rock stars or dinosaur rock. And so this is not just going to be contained to this one video. We planned a whole toy line and possibly a commercial cartoon venture.
When Kim Richards came to us to do a rock video, I think what Kim was looking for was something really unique, something that would tell a different story than what's on MTV or any of the rock video stations right now. So I asked Kim what was the title of the album and the title cut, and he said it was Animal Instincts was the name of the album, and that the title cut was Runaway, the cover tune with Del Shannon. And so I started thinking about stop motion integrated into a rock video type thing, but the biggest problem that I had was there was never enough time nor enough budget to really make that happen. And because Kim was looking for more than, and I was looking for more than just a commercial, okay, we were looking for an entertainment piece, he was willing to make the commitment for the time and the dollars to really make this something unique.
The biggest challenge was actually the junkyard scene where I was doing the choreographed moves with Punky and the other Dino Stars, which I like to call them. And it was really hard because we had to actually make the people believe that the dinosaurs were really there doing all those dance moves and everything. I think that was the most challenging part.
Well, Runaway was written on stage. I actually wrote it on stage. One night we were playing, just playing our old songs. All of a sudden, after the song, my organ player, Max Crook, hit an A minor and a G on the piano. And in those days, 25 years ago, they were playing like C, A minor, F, and G, and it was a very unusual chord change. And I was looking for something different anyway. And I just said, "Follow me, man." And so the next day I was working in a carpet shop selling carpets, and I never sold many carpets, but I wrote a few songs. So I wrote the words to Runaway. Then I called Max, told him to make sure he was always into tapes and machines and stuff like that. And I said, "Bring your tape and we'll tape the song tonight because I think it sounds really good." And he brought it, and I pointed to him, and I said, "When I point to you, play an instrumental." And he played that instrumental, a great instrumental in Runaway. And I still have that dub at home.
The biggest problem in the show as a director of photography was lighting the show so the animation would composite in and look like it was there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, double blue, walking in a little closer, and let's switch this for a 5K with some spun.
That set really, even though it's overused in rec videos, that set really called out to be smoked. We couldn't do that because, again, of the animation. If we shot the animation, which you can't control the smoke level since it's weeks later, the animation would look like cutouts pasted on top of a smoke set. We had to keep the air as clear as possible so the animation, again, would integrate in as cleanly as possible.
I really enjoy editing. It's very concentrated, and it's fun to play with such nice images. The only difficulties is because they're such great shots, we all want to keep them a little bit longer. No, I've got it backwards. I've got cymbal hitting drum when, Gentlemen, let's come to a decision. George, this is shot 39. We have too much good footage. That's always nice to have.
This job has been so much fun to do because it was real well planned and well designed as far as how they wanted the junkyard and
you know, the shack in the background and setting the feeling of the whole thing up. So it was really, for me, an opportunity to go to all the places I knew about that had the strangest things I've ever seen that I never knew where to use. It's like, what could you ever do with that? And then they're sort of showing up in here. There's mummy cases and ISIS statues and quarter panels from 56 Chevys. So, but believe it or not, almost everything in here is rented too, which is the best part, was going around and finding all these little things. There's 2 cars over there that we offered the city of Sun Valley a chance to clean up their street a little bit, if you could have them if you promise not to bring them back.
Tony likes these urban streets, and so do I. I love the look of the wet streets that look, and it seems to fit with rock and roll and the artist. And this little wrecking yard came about where they could maybe be in this wrecking yard. So I did some sketches of street people, early ideas, little dinosaurs, maybe like a pterodactyl with the big wing, you know, with all the watches inside of his wing. And that kind of evolved into some interesting character studies where they sat there going, well, how do you tie the dinosaurs into the cars? Why would they be there? What reason would they have to be there? So, well, what about something, obsolete oddities, antiques, interesting things people don't want anymore? And then it came to a T-Rex, like Tyrannosaurus Rex, but of course the sign, and if you happen to catch it in the video, it's T-Rex, W-R-E-C-K-S, obsolete oddities. And that was part of the concept where these little dinosaurs could be asleep there and be woke up for the first time and experience music, the little tails shaking and so forth. And that was where the fun of doing the storyboards, the original concept sketches with some of the different shots where they get pinned up against the wall and they first kind of sneak up to Lewis and so forth as he's playing, a little bit afraid, almost like in Snow White when the animals come out of the forest for the first time to look at her. So that's kind of how the concept evolved.
And when we're all happy, we hand it over to the Kyotos and we start the next phase, which is the animation. Cut to Kyotos.
My name is Steve Kyoto, and I'm functioning as the animation director on this Runaway project, coordinating the numerous different techniques to create the stop motion effects. For example, quickly, the character design stage starts out with a concept sketch that gets approved by the clients. Here we have one of our backup singers. And then from this, Charlie would scale it up to the actual size of the puppet and then render these scale drawings that Justin and the armature crew would work from, taking actual measurements off this drawing to build the armature. And this is also the drawings or the blueprints that the sculptor uses when he sculpts the clay around the armatures. And sculpting right on top of the armature, we build up the clay and add texture to make it as realistic as possible. And in some cases, we even have texture stamps made from actual lizards, iguanas, that we will use as a press to texture the clay surface. Here we have one of our punk rock singers. And on this stage, we then make a plaster mold of the figure, which will later on be used for casting the flexible rubber skin. This is a sample of the mold. And then, at this stage, what'll happen is we'll take the clay off the armature and then place it inside the mold. And when it's positioned in there properly, we'll then inject a foam rubber mixture that we bake in the oven, sort of like a cake. Here's an example of a foam puppet with the armature taken out of it. The armature is cast inside the puppet, and as you can see, we have a thick, maybe ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch of foam cast around the armature parts. And this enables the animator to move the puppet and flex it into any position and hold its position so it can be photographed.
You may remember when you saw us last, we had some raw foam puppets. Well, they've come a long way since then. We took all the pieces, the clothing, the guitars, all the little pieces of jewelry and little bottles and things, and we put them all on the puppets, painted them, and we have them here. This is the lead guitar, Punky. He performs with Louis Cardenas in the video, and they do quite a bit together. They dance and jump around each other, kind of crazy stuff. And you can see the beautiful little BC Rich guitar, little punk rock hairstyle, leather vest with studs, and even a tiger motif and his name on the back. He's the main character. This is Bruce, the bass player. He's big, he's mean, he's cool. He got his shades, and he's got his cigarette. That's all he needs. We also have T-Rex, the drummer. He's got a real wild mohawk. He's got his spiked collar, chains, leather. He's ready for anything. I'll take you out on the stage and show you how they bring these puppets to life. Frame by frame, meticulous movement, and they come alive.
Okay, this is the dinosaur's final destination. It's the blue stage. Here they'll be animated and put into the live-action backgrounds. I'm here to do the final touch-up and makeup. Make sure with glycerin that the lips are moist, that everything is attached so nothing moves during the animation process, making sure that the characters of the video look great. So I'm going to moisten up these sexy lips here. And I think you're ready. Somebody call in the animator, okay? Anything in particular you'd like to know? This is probably the most boring subject to talk about animation, I'm telling you. It takes a long time. You're here by yourself, in the dark. Utilizing the designer storyboards for action, the dancers' movements in rehearsal, and finally, the dancers on stage with Lewis. The movements for the puppets will be worked out. I'll start them out like this and back. That's all you're going to see. Let's just pick at the arms.
It's kind of like the hip is leading, too. Hip. Hip. You gotta kind of think like a dancer.
The director is consulted for last-minute adjustments to motion and camera positioning for photographing the puppets. Oh, you want them facing the camera then like this?
What? Yeah, because Lewis is.
Finally, the animation photography begins. Using the live-action dances as a reference, the animator positions the puppets in very small increments, and they are recorded one frame at a time. The final step is compositing. The animated puppets are combined with the live actors on the set.
This is done by stop action, I assume, isn't it?
Yes.
One frame at a time.
Correct.
So each frame, the position of the dinosaurs change a little bit. If you just watch the film go through slowly, you can see that each frame changes slightly. The light changes, his eyes change, all of this. And this has to very precisely sync up with action on the background plate. Since this is done a frame at a time, still framed, we have to print this over the background plate like this, a frame at a time. So each frame can be controlled as it happens. We've made decisions about the color. We've made decisions about his position. We've controlled the brightness of this part and the brightness of this part independently. So we're ready to print it, and we're ready to composite it.
Right. Animal Instinct is like the first solo project I'm doing outside of Renegade, and I wrote all the material on it except for 2 cover tunes. Kim and I wrote a song, Animal Instinct, which is the title song of the album. And it's something apart from Renegade. It's not, with Renegade, we're all in one. We all interject ideas together. On a solo project, I think it's more of a personal feeling, and I think that's what Animal Instinct is.
Allied Artists is an internationally strong company that is exactly as the name suggests. Artists allied together to create artistic music, broadcast video, publishing, all forms of entertainment ventures. And we're a company that does it from the artist standpoint, not big business.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, a love that was so strong.